Can they hear me? Can they hear me live out there? Next beat. That ain't the beat I want to do.
Those was wood
another
beats
beat.
right
Another
there.
beat. Nope. Give me another beat. Give me another beat. Nope. That's not it. That's the beat. Turn it up.
Oh, word.
Turn it up. I gotta hear it a little louder. Can you make it louder than my headphones? Turn me up in my headphones. I'm still stuck in the 80s/90s. Lottos, kangaroo boots, natty ghosts, Velas, jumpsuits and troops, Junos, color Levi's, Bugs Bunny sweaters with the rhinestone ring on it. Fighting and making up the next day. Nobody getting shot. Working a hustle and a get it, a get got. We had love for the streets, our family, our foes, our friends. Respect for the elderly. Pager/payphone, sneaking in the Adams Theater. Watching Crush grooving tougher than leather. Hopping gates out the college port to bang out, cause you don't wanna get caught at mom's crib or at Vaughn's crib. Eating funny dinner with the fam. Church every Sunday, 8:00 a.m. And even if I fell asleep in the back row or played sick, no matter what, man, I still had to go 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper.
Welcome, friends. Good evening to episode number 73 of the X-Cast. I'm your host, Josh Houselander. With me, as always, the purveyor of all knowledge disseminated here through the Empire of Media, theempiremedia.com. Adam Hernandez. It is day 4,980 in the search for Tim Shovelday. What's up, Adam?
Nothing. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, dude. We got a cool show tonight. We got a
Looking
fun
forward
guest.
to it.
Yeah, we got a fun guest. We got a few things we're going to try to get to before the end of the show. But this show is going to be a little bit shorter than usual, too, because tonight, after this show, we're bringing back an old show of ours, The Loud State.
Loud State, yep. Coming back. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So this can be a cool show, and then pretty much...
Loud State is a music show, if anybody's...
Yeah, it is.
Because we only did 4... This will be the 4th episode.
Oh, is that all
Loud
we
State.
did? Okay.
Yep.
We had some good episodes in the past of The Loud State, but we're going to...
It's coming back.
Kind of piggyback right back onto that. It's been a little while, but we're going to get back into it. So, 2 shows, basically, the Empire Media is throwing at you tonight. But tonight's show, again, episode number 73, we got Todd Friedman coming on in about 25 minutes or so.
Cool.
And it's going to be a cool guest. It'll be fun. He's got a cool book that's going to be coming out in the horizon here probably sometime this year. Big name in the world of competitive gaming and
Should we start a
esports.
book club?
A book club?
Yes.
Yeah, except you don't read, dude. So
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we could start it. And I mean, you would be really good at.
Can we get a books on tape club going?
Maybe if you want. I mean, I just know that if we had a book club, you'd be like the man when it came to like covering the book and pubbing the hell out of it on different websites and throwing it out there and reading a synopsis and throwing it out. But I know that if it's actually like in print form, if you put it on a computer screen, I bet you'd read it.
I'd read it.
Because I know you read like crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, you're always reading.
Yeah,
I
I just don't read novels or anything like that.
No, you don't read books.
Yeah.
No, books are not your thing.
Do like a Cliff's Notes.
Cliff
club.
Notes is awesome, actually. Cliff Notes is very cool, man. There's really, like, when they tell you in college to, oh, no, you got to read the book. No, really. Cliff Notes has got it covered. In fact, actually, Cliff Notes is they act like, oh, no, that's a good supplement for the book. No, actually, if you can only have one of the two,
You want to get
the Cliff Notes is going to be better than the book, because that's somebody who's actually smart who read it and then told you what you need to know. So really, Cliff Notes is where it's at, man. I love those. What's the other one? There's like the Brand X Cliff Notes.
I don't know.
They're just as good. Sparks Notes.
Sparks Notes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of Sparks Notes.
Yeah, those are just as good. Just as good. They do the job. Usually $1 or $2 cheaper.
Don't you wish, like, when you were in high school, like, Wikipedia was a thing?
Oh, yes. For sure.
Because what's great about Wikipedia, too, is that they have all of your references there, too.
Right. I mean, listen, and I know that, Wikipedia can't be, it can't be used as, like, the ultimate source or whatever. But
Yeah.
When I was in college, at the point when, in high school and in college, at the age when you're supposed to be in high school and college, it was a totally different atmosphere than when I went back to college. When I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I went back to college to go to grad school. And then it was like everything was just on Wikipedia. You could just Google anything. And I'm not saying that I didn't do my due diligence and do my research, but it was just, even if you do it the right way, there's so much there that you can just throw it out there. You just Google it, and it will direct you in the right spot. Or at least, at the very least, you're going to a class. You need to have, there's going to be a discussion. Google it 5 minutes before class, and it's going to give you enough to have that one thing that you can say in class and make yourself look smart. Because isn't that what it's all about in college? When you get your participation points or whatever,
Oh, come on.
But in college though, you need to do that. A lot of college courses, even on like the grad school level, have that spot where you just got to say something. Something to be in the conversation and look intelligent.
Depending on how big the class is.
Yeah. I always went, I never had huge classes. I went to small schools.
Really?
Yeah, I went to...
You ever had a lecture class or anything like that?
I had a few lecture classes at like the beginning of my college career that to me were big, but to somebody that went to some like big university, it wouldn't even faze them, I probably had some lecture classes with like 60 or 80 people at the most.
Yeah, I had both.
Did you?
Yeah, I had both.
You went to Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
Universities. You went to a pretty big
So
university.
it was a bigger university.
I went to community college starting out, and then I went to a smaller private university to finish my bachelor's and to do my graduate studies. So, when I was like when I was getting my master's, it was tiny little classes. It was 15 people in a class.
Oh, really? Yeah. It's like high school class.
Yeah, it was very small, very specialized. Great school. I went to Madonna University in suburbs of Detroit, Michigan, and I loved it. Very cool.
Papa don't preach, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was that. So was
it that Madonna?
Yeah, Madonna Ciccone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, she's from Michigan.
Yeah, exactly. She is.
You figured there would be a college.
I thought Madonna was from England.
Well, she thinks she's from England.
Oh, okay. She just has an English accent,
Yeah.
but she grew up.
She also thinks that she's Jewish too.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. No, Madonna is from. Actually, I was gonna say she's from right here where Adam and I are from, in like the Detroit area, but she's
from
not.
Pontiac. Isn't she?
No, she's from like Bay City.
Oh, really?
She's from
Pontiac.
which is like the up north Hick area of Michigan.
I thought she's from. Yeah, I thought she was from Pontiac.
No, I think she's from Bay City actually.
Huh.
Tri-City area up in Michigan. Yeah, northern. Bay City isn't what we here in Michigan call up north. That's actually what you drive through to get to up north.
Oh, up north for me is anything north of
Flint.
North of Fenton.
North of Fenton? Yeah, that makes sense. Fenton and Flint, right there. Yeah. No, that's pretty much what it is for me too. I'm a city boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, before we get to our guest, I know we want to talk a little bit about politics because a lot of stuff went down. But Adam, you told me before you missed the Han Solo trailer.
I did.
Star Wars story.
I told you before. I'm not looking forward.
No,
I'm not looking forward to this movie.
It looked cool to me.
You know what? I'm sure it did. I'm gonna watch the trailer. I know Sean from the Majors Live posted on my wall for me to watch, and
I just couldn't find the time.
I'm just so busy. I've got these things, and those things become things. And
right. You're a businessman. You got business to take care of, and you do podcasts.
I just can't. I've got Rudy breathing down my neck about the next Houselander Freddy hour that needs to go up.
You do the webisode number 20 of the Houselander Freddy hour. I'm sure will be up soon.
There's rail on Twin Galaxies, I'm sure, and everybody else.
Yeah. The latest episode of Houselander Freddy is probably the most controversial yet. And it'll be up here shortly, I think. I'm not trying to pressure Adam. I know he's got stuff to do. He's got a lot of stuff on his, stuff on top of stuff on his plate. But the new Houselander Freddy it's a crazy one. I actually disagree with a lot of it that is said. and it's going to be kind of like the next episode that we are taping on Thursday. Rudy and I is going to kind of be like, to some degree, Josh's retort to some of this. But it's not that I disagree with, well, sometimes I disagree with some things Rudy says and some things I don't, and that's what makes the show the show. But
well, what did you think about Solo?
Oh, Solo was cool. You know, I thought it was cool. The dude who's playing him looks cool. I like it that, okay, the thing is with the, you know, I'm not crazy about the sequel trilogy thus far. I like The Last Jedi a lot more than I liked The Force Awakens, but I'm not loving the sequel trilogy so far. But I loved Rogue One, and I like these ideas of the Star Wars story, but I don't want to see them totally beat the dead horse of the Star Wars story, and I like it that like they're calling this one Solo, but it looks like it's a story about Solo and Lando and Chewie and, you know, a lot of this stuff, because I don't want them to do a Solo and then have to do a Lando movie and then have to do a Chewie movie, and then, you know, that just to me would be a bit much.
You can't do a Chewie movie.
No,
you can't. It's gonna be in subtitles.
Right.
I mean,
so I'm. It looked cool, you know. Woody Harrelson's character looks kind of cool, and it's intriguing. You know, the main thing I caught in it is, you know, they're showing the Millennium Falcon. Anytime you see the Millennium Falcon, I just start to get giddy. But, you know, they're showing the Millennium Falcon, and that piece that's always been, or that area, I never viewed it as a piece missing, but that area that's empty at the front of the Millennium Falcon, there's something in there. So that, I think that's going to be a major part of the story, I'm guessing.
A piece of your heart is now missing after A Force Awakens.
It is. Dude, The Force Awakens sucked. It seriously sucked. Rey was dumb, and Kylo was dumb, and they killed Han Solo, and Captain Phasma is, I don't care what anyone says with the other
best
movies.
Character in the entire...
Yeah, Captain Phasma is worse than if Jar Jar Binks and Rose Tico had a love child. Captain Phasma would still be like just barely a step worse than that character. But I don't know. I just didn't get The Force Awakens. The Last Jedi kind of fixed some of it. I mean, how can one like a sequel to a movie that you disliked? You know, but with The Last Jedi, I did. I kind of liked it. You know? And considering that it's, again, like I said, a sequel to a movie I disliked, it was as good as it could be. You know? And with that being said, there's still stuff that I kind of picked apart about it. You know, I just...
Soroka sees Paul Coffey in the background.
He sees Paul Coffey in the background of... Oh, yeah, there's Paul Coffey is in the background, Mike. God, come on. Haven't you been watching, man? Paul Coffey, number 77. Greatest offensive defenseman of all time. Except for Ray Bork.
Fedorov would be a better defenseman too than Paul Coffey.
Yeah,
but stuck with it.
Yeah, Fedorov. Actually, Sergei Fedorov only played defense, you know, a handful of times, but I think he was a better offensive defenseman than Paul Coffey was in those few times, honestly. Is that crazy to say that?
What?
What I just said, that Fedorov, although he only played it a handful of times, was possibly a better offensive defenseman than Paul Coffey.
No, if Paul Coffey was a very, very good defenseman. I will just say this about Fedorov. If Fedorov continued to play defense, he probably would have won at Norris.
Probably, yeah, I agree with that. I actually agree with that statement. Okay, Adam, let's throw it out there. It's the big test for Paul Coffey. I know we're kind of skipping around here on subjects, but Paul Coffey, NHL.
Was this a fuck, marry, kill?
No. No, we'll do that right afterwards. Okay, just real quick. Who's a better offensive defenseman, Ray Bork or Paul Coffey?
Ray Bork.
Okay, fuck, marry, kill. Ray Bork, Paul Coffey, Sergei Fedorov.
Ray Bork. Wait, fuck, marry, kill. Ray Bork, Sergei Fedorov.
Paul Coffey.
Paul Coffey. Well, I'm marrying Sergei Fedorov because he's my favorite player of all time.
Okay.
Killing Paul Coffey. Fucking Ray Bork.
Okay, I will, I'll marry Sergei Fedorov, not because he's my favorite player of all time, but because he's the richest. And I will, I'll F Paul Coffey because no, I'll kill Ray Bork because he played for Colorado, so he deserves to die. And I will F Paul Coffey because we all know that that Paul Coffey used to squeeze into size 6 skates. So if the old adage about size of feet and size of other regions are true, then maybe that won't be so bad.
Mike's chiming in now saying worst show ever.
Mike Soroka will be a guest here on the XCast on February 27th.
I think I'm going to take down the Paul Coffey picture.
All right. Oh, jeez, that's just mean. But
should we get into some politics?
Yeah, we only got about 10 minutes, so let's throw it down.
Okay, go ahead.
The FISA happened this weekend, or this, you see.
It didn't happen.
Well, it didn't happen, but okay, the stuff was released on Friday.
The Nunes memo
was released on Friday. I know Adam thinks it's no big deal, and that Trump's still colluded with Russia, even though this pretty much plainly says that he did not.
What, the memo?
Yeah.
How did the memo say that?
It basically shows that the Democratic Party colluded to create this idea, and that they used CNN to.
Oh, come on!
No,
they didn't.
I can see that you've only watched CNN
because
last few days.
Because the investigation into Donald Trump and the whole Russian thing didn't happen because of Carter Page and the dossier or anything like that. It happened because George Papadopoulos was telling an Australian ambassador in London that they may have gotten dirt on Hillary Clinton from the Russians. So that Australian ambassador went to the United States government and informed them of that, and then they started investigating George Papadopoulos.
So do you?
And they were also investigating Carter Page because he was a Russian banker, and he had mob ties over there back in 2014. That's when they first started. It was either 2014 or 2013. That's when they started to investigate him.
So do you still think there's something to this? Trump colluded with the Russians.
We don't know. I mean, nobody knows what's going on with it. I mean, Robert Mueller's going to come out and say, "Oh yeah, I've got this on Trump right now." He's not going to do that. What we do know is Donald Trump's former national security advisor has already pled guilty and is, as far as we know, cooperating with Robert Mueller in his investigation. You've had his former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, and his business partner also plead guilty in this investigation, again, for money laundering. But it was also Steve Bannon, Donald Trump's former chief strategist, who said that if you follow the money in all of this, it'll eventually lead you to Russia.
Okay.
So, I mean, we don't know the basis or anything out of this investigation yet. And as far as people who say that we don't have a smoking gun in this, it was Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, Paul Manafort, who met with a Russian attorney and a Russian spy at Trump Tower back in 2016 to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. I mean, that's known. That's something that Donald Trump Jr. has come out and admitted, and because he wanted to be transparent and release the emails, which is what he did. And
there's nothing worthwhile in these emails. I mean, there's.
But the whole point is he met. They took a meeting to get dirt on Hillary Clinton.
Well, isn't that kind of what you do in a campaign?
Okay. Whether or not, if you,
it looks like Barack Obama as president of the United States is actually spying on Donald Trump.
Oh, he wasn't spying on Donald Trump. Donald Trump's own Justice Department came out and said that was a bunch of shit.
Okay, I mean, the main thing I take out of this, you guys know I'm not a huge Trump fan. You know I loathe Hillary Clinton. Not an Obama fan, but the main thing I take out of this is why I mean, I don't think Adam and I are going to come to the bottom of this in 7 minutes here.
No.
But why is it that we have these organizations here in the United States, the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, the DOD, the DOJ? Why do we have these organizations that obviously have their own agendas and attempt to undermine whatever candidate or whatever official they feel like undermining because they disagree with them? Why do we have these organizations, and why is it that the American people support them so much?
I don't know if it's completely clear though, because do you think the FBI is trying to take down Donald Trump?
Yes, absolutely.
The same FBI that released, or the
Christopher Steele has come out and acknowledged that he was put in that position to try to undermine Donald Trump.
The FBI also is the same. Well, it's not totally the same FBI, but it's still the FBI who reopened the Hillary Clinton investigation a week prior to the election. Right. And the one that was supposedly the one FBI agent who was on Mueller's team, who he had to kick off because he was sending, disparaging tweets about Donald Trump back and forth privately to somebody.
Proof positive that this is an organization that has their own agenda.
Okay, but you know what? That Trump, that guy, that FBI agent who was sending those tweets back and forth, he's the one that helped reopen this investigation to Hillary Clinton a week before the election.
That's great. Hillary sucks. Trump sucks. Okay, that's fine. That's all great.
So the FBI was trying to take down both candidates? Is that what we're saying?
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. Okay, here's my thing. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA. These are the organizations. These are the unconstitutional organizations that are spying on you on a daily basis. When you're talking about different things from the past, people don't bat an eye when you say that the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, these are the people that killed John F. Kennedy. These are the people that have been spying on you. These are the people putting together drone attacks on American citizens. These are the people lying to us and scamming us on a regular basis. But then you say something like, why do we have an FBI and a CIA? And everybody goes crazy. Everybody acts like I'm some crazy radical because I want to get rid of these terrible organizations, these terrible, unconstitutional organizations that come in and do nothing but trample our liberties.
Are they unconstitutional because of them being in existence, or are they unconstitutional because of some of the actions they undertake?
I'll go with both. The latter being the greater one. The latter being the smoking gun and the most obvious thing that they are absolutely committing acts that could basically be viewed as treasonous. They're definitely, small crimes, misdemeanors, and felonies against the government, against the people. Because I don't actually care about the status nonsense of the government. I'm talking about the government for the people that we are supposed to have and maintain here in the United States. They're going against that. But if you want to talk about their basic existence, yeah, I don't see any mention of these things in the Constitution at all.
Is there anything in the Constitution that goes against having a law enforcement agency or a federal law enforcement agency?
The Constitution does say that the executive branch is what enforces the law.
Looks like we have our...
Is our guy coming in?
Yeah.
Todd, is that you? Mr. Friedman, is that you on the line,
well,
sir?
Good evening. This is Todd.
Hey, Todd. This is we got Todd Friedman on the line. We have a lot to talk about with him. You saved us from some political banter here that Adam and I were.
I was listening in. I heard some of the conversation.
That's all right. We can always get to that later. You are our most important part of the show tonight. Todd, we got a ton to talk.
I mean, if you want to finish, you can too. I'm a few minutes early. So.
No, you're fine. We're fine. Let's jump into it. Okay, Todd Friedman, we're going to jump into, to let the viewers here know, or listeners here know, we are talking with competitive gaming personality, Todd Friedman, who has a bunch of different, you had all kinds of different irons in the fire when it comes to the world of competitive gaming, esports, Twin Galaxies, things like that. Twin Galaxies, for those of you who do not know, was for many, many years the keeper of world records, if you will. And some people are, we're not sure what the future of Twin Galaxies necessarily will hold, but I would like to... Go ahead, Todd.
I was just saying it has changed over the years since I've been a part of it.
It certainly has. Many people who know me from my past podcasting work know me from Settled on the Screen or the Twin Galaxies Show or the Twin Galaxies podcast and interviewing Walter Day and things like that. I know some people don't know about that, but many do. That is kind of where I got my one of my starts here in the world of podcasting. But the way I like to kind of view it, and the way I thought that you were an excellent and interesting guest, Todd, was that Twin Galaxies for years was the keeper of the world records, the keeper of the competitive gaming knowledge. And as Walter Day later went in and started with his trading card sets and becoming, if you will, more of a video game historian for what was once the world of competitive gaming, you are kind of taking the role of being the keeper of what Twin Galaxies once said. I kind of view you as the keeper of the trading cards, if you will.
Yeah, that is correct. I mean, Walter's given me the big responsibility of taking over his project that he started back in 2010, and I've been kind of honored to do that, and been looking forward to doing more work, above and beyond of what Walter's already done, and he's just done so much with the trading cards and with the community. And even if you take the trading cards away, he's done so much with gaming in general and Twin Galaxies. So
true. The godfather of competitive gaming is what I like to refer to Walter. But so you, as the proprietor of the Walter Day trading card site and trading card phenomenon, tell us about what it is that you do as the keeper of the trading card legacy. Tell us about these trading cards.
Sure. Well, like I said, the trading card started around 2010. I think the idea for the trading card started back in the 1980s. Walter always had this vision of keeping almost like a historic trading card memorabilia, just like baseball, just like football, any other sports that you would collect cards back in the 80s, even today, hockey. He just knew one day that there would be a big need and a want for video games on a trading card. So once he so-called retired from Twin Galaxies and the gaming community, he started this project of trading cards. And I mean, to this day, he's printed up probably over 1,700 different trading cards. I'm one of the fortunate people who have almost every card printed. I've kept an inventory and been to his vault and made sure everything's in order and made sure some of the rare ones are documented and known about in case someone's a collector out there who wants to get all the cards. There's some rare ones out there. But basically, I think his vision was to not only accommodate gamers with just holding world records, but also the pioneers who created the games, the programmers, the writers, all sorts of different people that had to do with gaming, the editors, people that had to do with video game magazines. So it's just not world record holders, which was the original idea, but now he's got science fiction cards for his science fiction collection, and there's Fairfield, Iowa trading card collection for people who grew up in Fairfield, where Walter's from, and where Twin Galaxies in Iowa, generated. So my role is to keep the cards going. I have an inventory of all the cards. I have every card cataloged, and I'm also a big pioneer of signatures on trading cards. I think it's kind of cool. When I was young, I'd always want a baseball player or a football player to sign my trading cards. So I always go to these different gaming conventions, and get all the gamers to sign my cards. I think some people know that I'm going to be coming after them with their cards, but I just think it's neat to have their signatures.
I personally thought it was very cool to get a letter in the mail from you with one of my trading cards asking for it to be.
Yeah, I appreciated you doing that. Yeah, I try. And what's amazing about too is this trading card. And I'll go into how I started all this too, because this goes way back before meeting Walter. But I think this whole trading card has brought me into a new community of people and friends, and just going to these different gaming events and meeting these people who've been part of history in the video game community. I really think it's a good thing. I think it's healthy. It's a good hobby. It's just something that I really enjoy doing, and I'm very honored that Walter has designated me to continue the project.
It's been a good couple of months at least since I've talked to Walter. How is Walter Day doing right now?
He's doing very well. He may have came back this week, but he does a travel to India every year for his meditation.
Yeah, transcendental meditation.
Yeah, he's really big into that. He's been into that for a long time, and he travels to India once a year and does like a cleansing. So he'll be back this week, I believe, fresh for a new year of fun and entertainment and gaming events. I believe he's supposed to be arriving at Midwest Gaming Classic in April, so it'll be exciting to see him there.
Cool.
But he's doing very well.
Event. That is a cool event too. I know you are, Todd, but how dedicated is Walter to this trading card thing? I know he's a big trading card fan. How dedicated is he to this?
He's. I mean, I don't even know if there's a word besides dedicated that you could describe Walter, because he put all of his time and effort into each individual card. The artwork that you see, the printing on the back with all the records, with all the statements that describe the players on the cards, are all his work on his computer at his home with his own finances. He has had some sponsors help him out in the past, keeping the trading cards going financially, but typically this all comes out of his money. There's no profit. There's no really career based off of it. He's just doing it for the goodness of his heart. And I don't know many people in the world that would do that, all that work just to keep the gaming community going like that.
No, he does. I mean, he tries so hard. And that's the one question I wanted to ask you, or one of the questions I wanted to ask you too, is, when the first time I got to meet Walter Day in person was when I conducted his retirement interview several years ago, and it's still one of the things actually that I'm very proud of, and I still get people.
I do have that video. Yeah, it's a very good documentary, and it's a great interview.
Our Day with Walter Day was what it was called. I did that years ago, but I always kind of laugh because although I'm very proud of it, that was supposed to be his retirement, his retirement interview, and that so isn't the case. So I just want to ask you, as somebody that I know talks to him pretty frequently, how retired isn't Walter Day? I mean,
I don't think retirement's in his vocabulary. I don't think Walter's the type of person, from what I've met and what I've known of him, that he's someone who can't sit still. And I don't think he'd ever retire. He did mention wanting to go into the music business. He likes singing. He likes playing a guitar. He likes doing that. He was gonna step aside from the gaming community to go into music, and I think he still may do that. But I think he's still got this video game life in his brain that he can't get out of, and he still to this day goes to events, makes appearances. He referees world records. I mean, he's not retired, and I mean, if you were going to think he was retired from anything, it's probably Twin Galaxies. I mean, he's definitely not really a part of the website, a part of the company. He does make some appearances. His trading cards are now called the Walter Day Collection when they used to be called the Twin Galaxies Collection. So
interesting.
I think maybe the retirement from Twin Galaxies is accurate, but not from the video gaming world.
No, and I've seen Walter perform too, and I do feel bad for him because I know music is one of his loves, but he just never seems to quite pull himself away from the video game world to be able to make that happen.
Todd, how does he? In your opinion, obviously, I don't want you to put any words into Walter Day's mouth or anything like that, but what do you think his opinion is? What do you think his take is on the current state of Twin Galaxies? Because from my standpoint, I'm not really tuned into the video game scene, definitely not as much as Josh, but I've heard things about Twin Galaxies now, how it's kind of on the the downturn. It's kind of falling out of favor with a lot of people. But what do you think his opinion is on Twin Galaxies and the state of it right now?
Yeah, I think if you were to ask him, I think Walter's a really humble guy, and he would be very positive, and he would talk very highly of Twin Galaxies and Jace Hall and all the members that are trying to keep it going, his legacy. So I don't think you'd ever hear anything negative out of Walter's mouth based on Twin Galaxies or anything going on today. He generally, if you were to ask him, he would just kind of let you know that it's exciting, it's new, it's fresh. He likes the ideas, and then he kind of move on from there. So I don't think there's anything negative from Walter on the website or on the state of the Twin Galaxies. I do know he's very much into esports, and I know Twin Galaxies is highly regarded for esports, which is different than when Walter was using it for his Twin Galaxies scoreboard. So I think he's excited that esports is getting more popular today, and Twin Galaxies, the website and the company, is promoting that. So I would say he's very excited for that part of it.
What about someone like yourself? I mean, that is, that's obviously been around the gaming community a long time. I mean, is the direction, it's kind of like the mainstream direction of competitive gaming something that you want to see? Are you happy with the way that, like, the mainstream direction that competitive video game playing has taken? I'm talking, the specials that we see on like TBS and right. And what these newer, first person shooter type of games as opposed to,
right.
Something else.
Yeah, I'm not surprised where it's led us today. I kind of expected it back in probably the 90s when we were networking our PCs to play, all these different Medal of Honor games and Doom and all those first person shooter games. I knew one day that it would be competitive.
Uh-huh.
I kind of kid to people I work with and people who aren't in the gaming industry that some of these events draw, hundreds of thousands of dollars of prize money, and they just don't believe me because some people don't consider gaming a sport. So it is an exciting field that is going to continue to get more popular as gaming and technology gets even more advanced.
Todd, and I'm not trying to be negative here, but do you think that Twin Galaxies has kind of been left in the background by esports?
Yeah. I was a big fan of Twin Galaxies. I've been on their forums. I was on, I still put some stuff up there here and there, but it's tough to keep track of what's going on with Twin Galaxies in esports, of who's controlling who and who's in charge and how they're, getting advertised. I know there's a couple spots where the Twin Galaxies logo was advertised in some of the events, but not all. And I'd like to see them more involved. But again, I haven't really talked with Jace, and I don't know, how they're handling things behind the scenes. I just know from the forums and what I hear from other people how things are going.
And hey, I don't want you to have to if you feel like you don't want to take a side here, I don't blame you. But the battle lines have definitely been drawn here recently with Twin Galaxies, and for those of you that pay close attention to it, the dispute system is really calling a lot of the classic gamers out. A lot of good friends of Walter Day from back in the day, good friends of mine, to tell you the truth.
Calling them cheaters too. Yeah,
basically, yeah. I mean, do you know Todd Rogers? Do you know Billy Mitchell?
Yeah. I talked to Todd Rogers actually in Iowa when this whole dragster thing started, and he sort of laughed it off, and he just couldn't believe how much attention it was getting. And I don't know. And here's my opinion: I don't think he cheated. And to be honest, there's no reason for him to cheat when he was a young kid, and this is before the Twin Galaxies scoreboard was around, and this is just some young teenager playing a game who wanted to beat the best score. And so
basically your first professional gamer, really, is what Todd Rogers was. He was employed by Activision, and he wasn't employed by them because he didn't have extremely legitimate skills. I mean, those were very
he really
well showcased.
I mean, I've seen him play when I do a video game conference here locally in Chicago, and the first one I ever did when I met Todd is he played Dragster in front of me, and he's impressive. He has a talent. It's not something he needed to cheat on, and he has hundreds of other records based on Atari and Sega and other games that he could play, and I think he's a talented gamer. I don't see any reason why he would cheat. Billy Mitchell, it's the same. I know Billy really well. I've been to many events, talked to him personally, talked to him on the phone, and he's a legit guy. I mean, his movie didn't depict him in the way he wanted to, and he really he's a genuine person.
The King of Kong is certainly a work of fiction, and it is certainly a work of it has great entertainment value. It's a fun movie to watch, but no, the real Billy Mitchell doesn't really come across like that.
No, the King of Kong, to give you a quick backstory, is the reason I'm here today. I mean, I saw the movie on cable back in 2008, and it got me involved with Twin Galaxies, and I saw they were coming to Chicago. I saw Walter and Todd Rogers and Tim McVeigh. All those guys were coming, and I wanted to meet them. And here we are 10 years later, and I'm part of this huge historic gaming community and writer for about 4 other magazines. And it's just, without that movie, I don't know where I'd be in the gaming community, but now that I know everybody in the movie and the people who are depicted in the movie, I know that was fiction, and so I know who the real people are.
Me too, Todd. Actually, me too. And the thing is that the admittal that you and I are owning up to here by saying that we got into it after the King of Kong that's not a popular thing to say. It's cool to be able to say that, oh, no, I was there before any of this King of Kong stuff. But no, I admit it. I'm with you. I didn't know about this till King of Kong came out. And, listen, Todd, I agree with you. I have seen Todd Rogers play Dragster. I have seen Billy Mitchell play Donkey Kong. And the idea that, I've sat and watched looked over their shoulder as they're playing these games, and the idea that they don't have legit skills at these games is ludicrous. I mean, it's very ludicrous. These guys can absolutely play. They're good guys. They're good people. They're friends of mine, and I make that admittal that they're friends of mine just because I'm admitting my bias there. They're friends of mine. I think they're honest guys, and I like them, and I support them, and I stand behind them. Do you know, and I know that you can't put words in his mouth like Adam asked you earlier, but how does Walter feel about all this? Do you know, or do you want to comment on that?
I don't know. I haven't talked to him really since the Billy Mitchell stuff came about, which is kind of recent. When he was in Iowa, when Todd Rogers was there, actually Billy Mitchell was there too, when we had the Hall of Fame inductee ceremony, he pretty much stays neutral. Like I said before, he tries to bring positives out of negatives, and he he's told me personal things about certain gamers, personal things about other people that I won't say, and he is very genuine and honest, and he tries to make negatives out of positives out of negatives. So, you know, I think at this stage of his life and his career of gaming and scoreboarding and everything like that, I think he knows there's more important things to worry about than the negatives. So.
Yeah, no, that's well put. That is well put.
Yeah.
You know, Todd,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you have quite a magazine presence, and when I was looking you up online and other stuff, you know, you definitely do.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of these magazines, some of these online magazines you're writing for. Tell me about Little Player magazine.
So Little Player is a brilliant project that was started by Martin Alessi, who lives here locally in Chicago. It was a Kickstarter event that happened 2 years ago, and this is actually also a physical copy magazine as well as digital. So you can actually own the magazine itself. But
feel free to plug
it's
stuff
a magazine.
too. Plug web pages,
Yeah.
plug whatever, you know. I mean, throw it out there so people can know.
Absolutely. Little Player is a magazine written by kids, which I have twins. Both my kids are writers for the magazine. But it's a magazine just based on games that are E10 or below. There's no amateurs. There's no teen games inside the magazine. There's really no advertisements in the magazine. It's all pictures. It's written in 100, 200 words or less, so kids who are in the underage, you know, just coming up to be gamers can read it. And you know, some of these other game magazines I won't mention have 2,000 words in an article, and you get thrown down and you just kind of skip through it. That's my opinion. But yeah, this Little Player magazine, it's a bi-monthly magazine. You can go to shoplittleplayer.com and you can subscribe. You can get a digital issue, or you can get the full print issue, which comes in the mail twice, 6 times a year. And it's just a brilliantly laid out magazine. I talk to people at GameStop. We have some magazines that we lay out for kids at GameStop, and they just go like crazy. I mean, the kids see the covers and they just want to read it. And like I said, my kids are reviewers. They get to play games and then review them, and it teaches them writing skills. Teaches them, you know, just kind of researching skills on games, and it's really a great project, and I'm honored to be a part of it with Martin. So yeah, you can go to shoplittleplayer.com. You can see some of the issues in there, and we're also on Google Play. We're on Amazon. We were in Barnes & Noble stores for a while, but we're really taking off. We're in a lot of libraries and schools. So I really believe in this project, and I believe that there's another, you know, there's another world besides the Twin Galaxies community that should be a part of the gaming community, that should, you know, be reading the things that are on Twin Galaxies. So I think this is a good project for that.
No,
that's a good magazine.
That's really cool, Todd. And one thing that it's going to sound weird when I say this, but one opinion I've held over the years, and believe it or not, this has been a kind of an unpopular opinion, is that video games are for kids. You know, I mean, and that's something to me, as much as I'm an adult and I still like video games, and I know that they say that the average video game player nowadays is about 33 years old. But to me, I think of video games as something for kids. And I have a world record. I have a couple of world records with my son. And to me, those are the ones I'm proud of. I don't necessarily view a world record as something you should be immensely proud of. But I love those ones I have with my son, and that I you know, help to pass that on to him. So I love to hear that you got your kids involved, and that you're, you know, that they're writing and that they're doing something with it. That's amazing, actually.
Right, and like you said, the average gamer is 33. But if you think about it, those gamers have kids that are in their 8, 9, 10-year-old range who can't play Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto or some of these, you know, Gears of War, these violent, bloody games. So there is a need for these, you know, 7 to 13-year-old range of gamers, maybe even younger than 7, actually, now with the digital. Well, see, that's the other thing. Our magazine also includes Android and tablet games, not
Very
just
cool.
console games. So you see all these kids with iPhones now, with 10 years old, playing their Super Mario or whatever app on their on their phone. We review those games as well, and we put those in the magazines too. So we know that gaming is going also into the app world, so we want to feature that. So this is a good magazine to show that.
Very cool. You also write for Game Room Magazine and Old School Gamer Magazine. What's up with those?
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. The Gamer Magazine is, as far as I've been told, is going to be ending very shortly. And the Old School Gamer Magazine is one I've just started. So I've kind of finished a project with Gamer Magazine, they were around 20 years ago for people who know the magazine business and gaming. And I think they ended in 2009 or 10. And then a couple of years ago, a company bought them back and tried to revamp the magazine, which I started writing for. And unfortunately, it just didn't take off for whatever reason. And I think the next issue is the last issue. So I was proud to be a part of Game Room Magazine. If you want to order back issues or see what kind of magazine it is, you can go to gameroommagazine.net. But from what I've been told, it is one of those magazines that just tried to come back and just couldn't based on the demographic. What we're trying to do is bring back the old pinball gaming and like game rooms from the old days, and people trying to recreate their game rooms in their household with arcades from the 80s and 90s. So this was kind of a unique magazine that we tried to do something different, and it just didn't work out, and that's fine. It was a good project, but the one that I'm currently working on and just started is Old School Gamer Magazine, and that one is also a bi-monthly magazine that started where I'm currently working on issue 3. So this is very, very new. But you can go to oldschoolgamermagazine.com and you can get a free physical printed issue if you sign in with your email. You can get one mailed to your home for free to see, what kind of magazine we got. And this one is basically anything old school. Whether it has to be systems, whether it's games, whether it's joysticks, anything from the old days, we cover, and we try to, bring back the old stuff that was so much fun when we were kids to play.
What's your favorite? What do you like to cover within the video game world, Todd? You write for all these magazines. What's your bread and butter though for yourself when it comes to writing about video games?
I've written so many different things, but the one thing I really enjoy researching and talking about again is the controllers, the joysticks. Believe it or not, it's not really the games or the systems, it's the controllers. I just find them fascinating over the years how they progressed and how much simplistic the joysticks were back in the 70s and 80s, yet how some of them were trying to be unique and trying to go up out of the box, and for whatever reason they didn't work.
I like that because it's not something you really think about when if you like to play video games or there's somebody that's a casual video game player or anybody on the outside looking into this, when somebody might think it's just all about the video game,
the hardware aspect.
Yeah, I'm with you though. The controller is a big part of a system, and to this day, I think one of the biggest problems with was the Sega Dreamcast. Was the controller of it. I thought the controller was garbage.
Yeah, cool system, lousy controller.
And I thought one of the biggest successes of Nintendo 64 was the controller. I thought the controller was great. And I know I'm in a minority when it comes to this.
I agree with you though.
But what I'm going to say now, I thought the PlayStation controller was awesome. I love the PlayStation.
So Todd, for you, best controller, video game history, best controller.
Well, to be honest, for me, the best the controller that did everything for the world was the NES. For me, because it's so simplistic, yet it's, you can do so much different things with just 2 buttons and a controller. I think the NES just broke ground. But then again, like you said, the N64 was unique. It had the analog, it had the trigger buttons, it had this unique kind of like spaceship kind of looking, and it had the little, if you remember, it had the jump pack that you could put on the back to make it vibrate. And
the rumble pack, right?
Yeah, the rumble pack, exactly.
I forgot about the rumble pack.
It's cool.
Yeah, but when you talk about the Dreamcast too, that's one of my favorite systems. But they did go wrong with the controller, and I think that's what did them in. And I was really unfortunate. I think they had a good idea with the VMU, where you can have this virtual kind of little Game Boy in your controller. Mm-hmm. But it just didn't take off. I think it was, yeah. But yeah, the controller for the Dreamcast is an unfortunate. Like the original Xbox controller is just a paperweight. I don't know how they got away with that.
I'm with you. I wasn't a big fan of the original Xbox controller either.
And one thing that I think is worth noting when it comes to the controller aspect of it is, these people that are playing Atari games still and throwing down world records on Atari games and still playing games on Atari, and that harkens back to our conversation about Todd Rogers playing on playing Dragster, because when I've seen him, he's always playing on a legit Atari controller. But it's hard to even play. To even function one of those controllers is not an easy task. To function one of those controllers at a high level.
Yeah, and what's amazing too about those old controllers is they last forever. I mean, I still have my Atari 2600 controller that still works. I mean, I have probably a PS3 controller that doesn't work because the analog won't move or something. But those old controllers, the old systems, they still go strong, and they're just, I don't know.
I know. I was going to say, I don't know how many times I've slammed down a Super NES controller when I was playing like Super Mario World, and it still worked after that. I mean, you'd hear like screws and everything, like shaking around in it, but yeah, it still works fine.
I have a confession to make too. I love the old Atari games, but if you catch me playing an Atari game at home, I probably have a Sega Genesis controller plugged into that thing. Because
you could do that, right?
That's like little dirty little secret that a lot of gamers know, is that it's a crazy thing. But if you have a Sega Genesis controller, you can plug it into your Atari and it works perfectly. And it's so much easier than trying to work that goddamn joystick, guys.
Let me ask you guys your opinion on this one, because when I was on Sell It on the Screen earlier last year, and systems, because I know Michael Stroka's opinion of this, but what's your opinion of the Intellivision controller?
I think it's terrible. I think it's an absolute piece of garbage. And please know, please know, Todd, I grew up playing Intellivision with Michael Soroka. I mean, he lived down the street from me. I met Mike Soroka when I was 7 years old. And he was, at that point, he was the only guy I knew. Everybody had Atari. He had Intellivision. He was like how like when you were in grade school, there was like everybody had Nintendo and there was one kid on the block who had a Master System, and you're like, well, I guess that's cool.
I was the Master System guy.
Were you the Master System? I was the Turbo.
I was the Sega guy. Yeah.
I was the TurboGrafx guy. Believe it or not.
Oh yeah, that's one I didn't have.
I was the TurboGrafx guy.
I was the NES guy, but then when the next generation came out, I switched to Genesis. That's pretty. That's a pretty common one. Yeah. Actually, when it came out later, I did have a Genesis and a Super Nintendo. Yeah, so did I.
They were, which was awesome. But no, Todd, I'm with you. I can't stand the Intellivision controller. I think Mike Soroka has been. If I didn't know for sure that he has never smoked crack in his life, I would tell you that I thought he was smoking crack because I think he's nuts.
I brought it up on the show, and he's like, "All right, good night, everybody." He was ending the show. He was so upset.
Yeah, no, he loves his Intellivision, and his Intellivision skills are legit as hell too.
It's just a remote control.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's a bad telephone. I mean, I don't want to play a video game on my telephone. Oh, crap,
yeah,
that's stupid
no
to
one,
say, though, because now everybody plays video games on their telephones.
And when you were kids, we lost those little paper things that go on the controller. No one kept those, and then I don't know. I think it was ahead of its time, but I'm just not a fan of that one.
And I never thought about that aspect. The whole idea of playing a video game on your telephone was very much pioneered by Intellivision, and ColecoVision as well.
Yeah,
had that same thing.
And then they had that little disc joystick. That was kind of hard to get used to.
Stupid. It was terrible. Yeah. It was terrible. And I'm a big ColecoVision fan too, but the controller sucks.
Yeah, I have that system too. Yeah, that's another thing too that I just I got somehow involved in is the collection of the old school systems and games, and I pretty much have every system. Not necessarily the rare ones, but all the systems back to the Magnavox Odyssey. I mean, I love breaking out the old school systems and playing them.
I do too. I love doing that with my kids as well. And that's actually something I was going to ask you about next, Todd, is your personal video game collection is pretty extensive, is it not?
Yeah, it's gotten a little crazy. If you ask my wife, she thinks I'm a hoarder, but I think I'm a collector. And
fine line between those things.
The one good thing is I don't keep doubles. So I have I'm about 16 games away from having 3,500 unique individual console games, dating back from the Jaguar to the PS4 to the Xbox One. But I have about 3,480 games, unique games. Obviously, they're not all in box, which would be very cool, but they're not. But I do have some rare games that are in boxes. I have the Super Smash Brothers N64 in box with manual. I have some of the old Atari 2600 games in the box, unwrapped. Very good condition. But I'm more of a collector of the history rather than the money worth of it. Mm-hmm. If I go to a store and see a game that I don't have, I'll grab it. Doesn't matter if it's like Madden 08. I don't care. I'll grab it if I don't have it.
I'm the same way.
I don't know how long this will last. I did an interview recently with Michael Thomason. He had the world record for most video games with over 10,000.
Nice.
And he actually has an interesting documentary where he had to sell his collection, and it's very neat. It's a pretty cool documentary, but he's trying to get his collection back up too. He couldn't stop it. So once he sold it, he started over. But
Todd, do you catalog this? Do you catalog your video games? I mean, because that's a lot. Are you able to keep track of them or anything like that, or how do you?
I actually do have a spreadsheet by game, alphabetically by system, and a lot of people use apps, and I just think that's too much entering in. All I really do is use Excel, and I have a spreadsheet of every game. I can go to the system and search it and find if I have the game, and then I also have a list of each system, how many teams I have for each, so I can total them up. So every time I get a new game, I just add it to the Excel spreadsheet. But then I can go to like MGC, or I can go to some different gaming events and pull it up on my phone and see if I have it or not. So kind of convenient.
What do you have the most games for which system?
The most I have is I'm going to bring it up here in a second, but it's for the PS2. I have over 600 games on the PS2.
Nice.
Yeah, if you bear with me here, I'm going to bring it up here. Oh wait, click the wrong thing. Okay, so I have 627 for the PS2. Then I have the PS1 at 300. I have almost 300 Xbox games. 276 Wii games, believe it or not. That was a good system, and I still think it's fun. Yeah. But then I got some like stragglers up there. I got like 4 Atari Lynx games. Virtual Boy, I have only 5 games, but
Virtual Boy only made 5 games.
How many Vectrex?
Yeah, no, I think they have a few more, but no, I only have 5. But yeah, so
actually, Nick Houselander from Settled on the Screen actually had a pretty extensive Virtual Boy collection, believe it or not.
What do you have, 6?
Oh yeah.
No, I bet he had 20. Yeah, I mean it was, and a bunch of them were only in Japanese, so you had no idea what. Yeah, but some of them were kind of cool
Japanese
games.
Yeah, those Japanese ones are good ones. Yeah.
My little sister had a Virtual Boy back in the day, actually, and had a couple of. That was I kind of like that system, actually.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, I
didn't.
Virtual Boy Tetris was legit as hell.
Virtual Boy's cool. Yeah, Mario Tennis for Virtual Boy is pretty neat. I actually, my kids play that. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, no, it is. That's kind of like the crown jewel of Virtual Boy is their tennis game. I always liked their Tetris. Oh, that's
good too. Yeah,
that was a cool game.
Yeah,
you'd switch back and forth.
Yeah.
What's the piece that's most important to you in the collection?
Well, it's like I said earlier. It's got to be my Dreamcast, because for me that system that came out in '99, I waited in line for I think it was 6 hours, and I got the system. And I don't know, for me it just brings back a lot of memories. I had the NES when I was a kid, but then I traded it to back in the day when you can get credit, and then I had to re-get a new system. But the Dreamcast, I have the original box, the original manuals, everything was original from when I got it in '99, and it just speaks a lot to me. And I have a lot of the original games, Soul Calibur, all the NFL 2K, those games were just kind of, they're well ahead of its time, I believe, just with graphics and sound and Crazy Taxi, Ready to Rumble, all those fun games are just classics.
For sure. Crazy Taxi is another one that Todd Rogers is amazing at, by the way. If anyone,
that's a hard game. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yep. Todd, as a super nerd that I am myself, I don't want to necessarily put you in that category.
I'm in that category.
All right, okay. But see, I like it when you say things like that you don't have a lot of them in the box and things like that, because as somebody that's always been a big collector of action figures and comic books and things like that, I like, to me, video games are a toy. It's meant to be played. I don't want it in the box.
Right.
I want it. I don't want it new in the case or something like that. I actually want to be able to play it. That's just how I am. But Todd, we don't have a ton of time left.
Go ahead.
Tell us about the Video Game Summit, because I know that's a huge thing that you've been working on for years. So
the Video Game Summit, like I said earlier, was something that I saw when I saw the King of Kong movie, and I saw that Walter and them were coming to Chicago. They were going to the Video Game Summit, and that at the time it was in Lombard, Illinois. And I made sure I contacted the promoter of VGS, Dan, and asked him if I could help out. I just wanted to be a part of it. I don't know why. I just had some vision, I could help out. And Dan was nice enough to let me help out. And I met Walter, and that was in 2008. And 10 years later, this is my 10th event, where we've gotten bigger every year. We're nowhere near it. Midwest Gaming Classic, for those who've been there, Midwest Gaming. But we're locally, we're just a good group of gamers who come in. We have vendors. We have games you could play. I bring all my consoles and a lot of my games that I own, and I set them up for kids to play. And we have raffles. We have lots of different awards to give out, tournaments. And it's just a one-day event that is exciting, just to get away on a Saturday and play some games from the old days, as well as the new systems, and meet people from the gaming community, and just have a good time. And this year it's July 14th. It's in Villa Park, Illinois. It's at the Odeum. For those who are local in Chicago, there's a lot of concerts are at the Odeum, so we reserved the Odeum for that day. And this year is going to be pretty big. We got some good. We got a lot of celebrities coming, a lot of gamers that we haven't announced yet. But this year we're having arcade games there, and we're bringing in Doc from Galloping Ghosts in Chicago, bringing in some arcades. Yeah, so we're not trying to be Midwest Gaming Classic. We're just trying to be our own little local thing that every year we get more and more people, and we bring, we're bringing just the gaming community together. And I'm really proud to be a part of it.
No, I have not yet been able to attend that one yet, Todd, and I apologize for that.
Yeah,
actually.
no, that's fine.
But it sounds like it's a really cool event, and I'm behind it 100%.
Like I told you, our goal one day is to have it on the whole weekend and make it a 4-day event or something. But right now we're still growing, and we have it down to one day and make it more convenient one day for everybody to at least come PS. But I really, I appreciate it. One day we'll get to see you there.
Absolutely. And, Todd, we would be remiss if we didn't. We mentioned this in passing, and you definitely talked a lot about the trading cards, but tell me about the book. I mean, you got the book coming out about Walter Day and his trading cards.
Right.
Tell us about it. If you have a tentative release date, I know you don't have an official one, but let us know what's going on with this book and the contributors and what you're doing for it and where and when and how people can get it when the time comes.
So it's still in the early stages, but what I could tell you, and I forgot to mention this earlier when we were talking, but if you go to the walterdaycollection.com, that's the website where I've kind of taken ownership of the website, and every week I do an interview with someone that's on a trading card, and I've done it for almost 2 years now, so we've had quite a bit of almost 100 people willing to share their time with me and interview about the gaming community. I ask them questions about Walter, I ask them about the history. So as I was doing this, I met a gentleman named Jeffrey Windingham. He's got some Super Nintendo and Nintendo books out there. He's a really good editor and publisher of books. And he talked to me about doing a Walter Day trading card book. And we sat down with Walter. And what we want to do is make a book out of these trading cards where you can go to these events, get autographs from the gamers on the trading cards, learn a little bit about them and their history. And instead of, if you're not a card collector, then you can have the book all in one spot. You can have all the cards right in front of you and learn about the history of the Walter Day collection. So it's in the early stages. We're going to have some, at the Midwest Gaming Classic, we'll have some advertisement for it, but we're going to probably do a Kickstarter early this summer where you can get a part of it. And it should be a great little keepsake, little book of history. And if you weren't able to get a lot of these trading cards, you'll be able to get the book and see all the trading cards in the book.
Very cool. No, very cool. And Todd, we are going to absolutely positively have you back on the show. If not before this, too. We may have you on in between, but if it's
that'd be great.
But I definitely want to have you back on when this book is released. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be very cool. And I really appreciate your work on it too. It's you've done a lot. I know you've worked hard on it, and it sounds like it's going to be a really cool project. So,
thanks, and I appreciate all your work, and along with Michael and Nick and all them, and I've really gotten inspired a lot from your guys' shows and your interviews, and you're just keeping the gaming community alive. You guys do a great job.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As the interview comes to a close, and we really appreciate you coming on the show, Todd. But just wanted to mention one more thing as the interview comes to a close. Something that I saw about you. So you're quite the bowler.
Oh, right, yes, that is true. That was when I wasn't gaming. When I wasn't gaming as a kid, I was bowling. I've been bowling since I was 8 years old. Went to college for bowling.
13 300 games. Is that true?
Yeah,
wow.
13 300 games, 3 800 series. I've been bowling tournaments since I was a kid. It was kind of my goal in life was to be a professional bowler, but then I saw what the salary was compared to the IT world of computers. And so I went the IT route and just did bowling for a hobby. But I did get a lot of great memories.
Did you say you went to college for bowling?
Yeah, I had a scholarship at Wichita State. Yeah,
okay.
Not a full ride, but for bowling, it paid some of the bills. And,
nice.
And I got to travel and bowl against other schools. It was pretty exciting. Yeah.
Todd, I don't follow bowling that closely, but it's funny you said that because my next question, because my ceiling is not real high in the world of bowling, but my next question was, do you have any 800 series? But you answered it already. 3-8, because I know
it's 3. Yeah,
the bowlers I've talked to, I know that a lot of times that's more coveted. The 800 series ring is more coveted than the 300 game in a lot.
Yeah, being a bowler, in my opinion, 800 is a lot harder than a 300 because 300 you can get 12 strikes in a row and get some lucky breaks, but to bowl an 800 or higher, you got to be pretty consistent and pretty on your game for 3 games in a row. And I was fortunate enough to know and was friends with the first person in history to bowl a 900 perfect 300 for 3 game series back in the mid 90s. It was kind of an exciting time. He was on like Jay Leno and everything, but yeah, he bowled 3 perfect games in a row, and I just thought that was. I mean, you can get a perfect Pac-Man, you can get all these records in video games, but to bowl 300s in a row,
that's incredible.
It's just amazing. So I got the privilege to know that person.
Who is better, Dick Weber or Pete Weber?
Ooh,
Or
I'm
Chris
gonna go
Webber.
with Pete Weber.
You're going to go with Pete Weber? That's what I think I would too.
I have bowled with Pete Weber before, and Chris Barnes and all those guys. I've bowled with them in tournaments, and they're good people.
Very cool. Very cool. Do you like bowling video games?
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like, I was talking about this with someone earlier. I saw on Toon Galaxies someone had an Intellivision Bowling League's T-shirt, and I said I thought that was the coolest thing, so I actually ordered myself one. And then someone at bowling was like, "What's the best bowling game?" And I could not think of one. And if I was really to answer that, I would go to the Atari 2600. I think it was just kind of classic for the time. If you remember that game, you kind of just go up and down and roll this little little square into the pin. But
Wii bowling.
They never did bowling games good.
Wii bowling is very cool.
Fun. It's fun. For me, being a bowler, it wasn't as realistic as I thought it would be. But
it's stupid, but it's fun. Game. Yeah, it has nothing to do with bowling, but it's fun.
No. I'm trying to use my form from real bowling, and I'm throwing like 3 counts, and my son's getting 3 in a row, and I just whatever. I don't get it.
I know a guy who used to he had a method worked out where he used to sit on the couch and hold the Wiimote upside down and just flick his wrist, just barely flick his wrist and get strike after strike after strike.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people wouldn't even stand and play it.
It was an amazing method though. He would hold it upside down and just kind of turn his wrist.
And then people were getting records. They were getting perfect games on there's a setting on Wii Bowling where you can have like 100 pins or whatever at once, and they were getting perfect games. And I'm like, how did that? And I think there's some trick to it. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah, it's fun.
Todd, we're out of time, but I really appreciate you coming on, man. And we will.
I appreciate the time. Yeah, I really do. And I apologize for interrupting the politics. But
oh no, that's quite all right. That is quite all right, sir.
No, thank you.
That was a heated battle. Yeah.
That's what we do here.
I could go into politics too. It's just it's crazy, but I enjoy video games more.
But I think I do too. Politics are more important, but video games are definitely funner to talk about. Todd, it's been a great time talking with you. Really appreciate it. We will have you on again in the future if that's okay with you. I would love to.
I would love to. Yeah,
love to have it on. A lot of stuff's
anytime
erupting.
You need me.
A lot of stuff's erupting here in the video game world. I know that Richie Knuckles and Billy Mitchell were on a different show earlier tonight. I don't know what.
Yeah, I did see that.
Did you? Were the big bombshells dropped or what?
I didn't. I didn't get to see it because I tuned into your show and then I don't know. I was going to watch the replay and I'm not sure what was going on there.
You're in the same boat as me. I was here, prepping for this show, so I caught maybe 5-10 minutes of it, but they didn't get to the big bombshells yet. But I'm sure it will be uncovered. I'm sure we'll talk about it. And Todd, I will speak with you off air soon, and we'll we'll figure out what we're gonna do in the future. But good luck to you, sir.
Thank you guys.
On all these magazines, on the books, on the video game playing, on the video game collecting, and on your video game summit here coming up this summer.
Yeah, thank you, and I'll be sure to promote your guys' show. I think you guys are doing a great job.
Thank you very much, Todd. We appreciate it, man. And we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, bye.
See ya. All
right. That was Todd Friedman, everybody. Video game persona. Interesting interview. He's a cool dude. Super cool guy.
Nice guy.
Adam, do we have a news section tonight?
Yeah, real quick, and we'll go ahead and kind of pick up on on a political thing here.
Okay.
But Trump has requested a military parade to show America's might. So we're gonna have an authoritarian-esque military parade down the streets of Washington. You can't be for this, Josh.
Yeah,
this is something that Donald Trump is watching what they do in North Korea, and he liked seeing that.
Well, and
that's what this is.
I mean, we know that the United States of America right now has the strongest military in human history.
Yeah.
But one thing that's cool about the United States is that we don't really need to brag about that.
Exactly.
You know, we have it. It's true. I love the armed forces here. I support them. And we have the strongest military, truly, in human history right now at the United States of America. I don't know that we need a parade to show it off, though.
I agree.
You know, it's just it's not necessary. And no, Donald Trump isn't a Nazi. That's not what I'm saying. You know, that I do not believe that. It actually degrades what it is to be a Nazi or a fascist to call Donald Trump that.
But he's a bigot, though.
I don't know about that, but perhaps it's is what it is. Is what it is.
Did Elon Musk just shoot down the flat Earth conspiracy? As we all know, the SpaceX Falcon was blasted off today from Florida, and there's some images coming in, some pretty cool images of Earth. And yep, it is round.
Yeah, it's not flat.
it's not flat.
Are we at some point going to do flat Earth for one of the deep issues?
No,
shows?
we are not.
Yeah,
we are not.
I mean, I would like to. I'd like to do like 10 minutes on it once on a show, but I do not want to.
I don't even think it warrants 10 minutes. Yeah. I think it may warrant.
You don't. So you don't think the Earth is flat?
No.
Of course, the Earth is flat. How else would it fit on the back of the turtle?
That's true.
No, I'm with you, man. You know I'm a big conspiracy guy and a lot of things, but the Earth is not flat, everybody. It just isn't.
Elon Musk did something great too. Like he tweeted at the Flat Earth Society, and he's like, how come there's not a Flat Mars Society? And they came back to him saying, well, there's already pictures proving that Mars isn't flat.
Well, it is kind of funny too. Just I have a friend of mine, and actually I knew this guy from the video game world as well. But his father worked for NASA, and he has brought me in several times to be his backup on some of these flat Earth, social media groups, and quite frankly, it's pretty ridiculous. I'm all about being woke. I'm all about finding stuff out. I'm all about getting your own information, and I encourage people to go out and learn the truth and seek things out and look into it. But
you know what the truth is,
the Earth's not flat.
The truth is the Earth is not flat.
No, the Earth isn't flat. I mean, it just isn't. I mean, I'm sorry, but
you know what the flat earthers think is at the edge of the ocean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They think it's ice.
Right. Yeah. So that's what keeps us from falling off.
Yeah.
That's why we don't fall off. Yeah. So the thing is, though, a lot of this stuff stems back to, what we did in the past. We've, the secret things on Antarctica, and to be quite honest with you, I don't discount some of those things, some of the crazy things found on Antarctica and perhaps covered up. But guess what, guys? Even Admiral Byrd didn't think the Earth was flat. He really didn't, and it's not. Okay, if you believe that, and we did talk about this a little bit on our moon landing conspiracy show. We touched on this because that's one of the moon landing conspiracy ideas, is that the Earth is flat, so that's why we didn't go to the moon. It's all faked. But if you believe that much of everything is faked, then you're a bit of a lost cause. I mean, I'm sorry, but you kind of are.
One last thing here, because we are out of time. Pornhub is banning AI-generated deep fake, quote-unquote, videos. And
what is?
Pornhub.
Okay.
They're banning pornographic videos that have been manipulated so that the original actor's face has been replaced with somebody else's, which is typically a celebrity. So they are now banning those. So
that's a thing?
Yeah, Pornhub now is they're going the ethical route here and eliminating.
How noble. Thank you, Pornhub. That's great. Good to know.
Hey, I mean, come on. I mean, you gotta. I mean, there's a line. Even in pornography, there's a line that you just can't step over.
Okay, well, that's neat.
And of course, typically, it should be like child porn and all that garbage that the scum.
They don't have that kind of stuff, dude.
No. But I'm talking like this. I mean, it's
that's nice. So we don't need to worry about like an XCast porno where it's our faces put on.
No,
people.
that's something that will not no
if
longer
that's
be
on
allowed.
the internet, it won't be on Pornhub.
Exactly. It might be somewhere else, but Pornhub is, they have standards where that's not allowed on it.
Hashtag nobility. No, good to know. Good to know that Pornhub will not be doing that. So if you look up Todd Friedman porn, our guest here, our noble guest, that's fake. That is fake.
Yeah, all of that is
that's his face put on somebody's body, and it won't be on Pornhub because they are classy.
No Josh Hauslander, no Adam Hernandez, nothing like that.
No, it's all fake. It is fake. It's fake news. Hey, real quick, everybody, thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for listening to all our stuff. I know we jumped around a lot of different subjects tonight. Thank you so much to our guest, Todd Friedman, and please tune in next week when we go back to our Deep Issues cast where we're talking cults. And if you stay tuned tonight on this feed and on the feed on theempiremedia.com, we are bringing back our show, Loud State, our music show. So that's coming back tonight.
It's coming back in just a few minutes.
Yeah, just right now, basically. So stay tuned and come in next week when we'll be talking about cults. Very creepy, very fun show next week. Deep Issues on the Xcast. I'm Josh. He is Adam Hernandez. Thank you so much to Todd Friedman, our guest, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.